Section 542-301. If you, I'll send it over to you. But there's several counties and several jurisdictions that utilize this section that allow us, when we were doing destruction orders, we do a lot of destruction orders and forfeitures through cases that have either been disposed of or dismissed or whatever the case may be. Allows us to take money and cars and guns and all sorts of things, and then have an auction essentially and sell those and then recoup the money. The statute provides that the money then goes to the treasury of the county. These agreements that other departments have with their county is that is earmarked, if you will, for various things for law enforcement. And so I just wanted to let you know that I'll be asking. I was going to do it in February and I haven't because I've had it on my desk. If we could put it maybe on an agenda coming up, so I could kind of figure out what that amount would be and why. The reason we started looking into it is because some of these programs that I had wanted to start, the stranger danger and those things, or the safety towns, they're completely funded. And when I've talked to these other places, how they have these giant, educational networks, they're funded through their forfeitures. And I was like, what in the world? We don't get any money for that. It all goes. And so, again, George started doing some research because he is a research guru, and finds that we can absolutely can do that, but it has to be through an agreement with you that that those monies, if we go through the extra, I mean, it's a lot more work that's entailed instead of what we do now. We just destroy. Going through the auction process and publication and all of that, and it's actually kind of costly because of certified letters, and that costs about $10 a pop by the time you get the little checkbox and the return card and all that crap. But we're willing to do all those things if we can come up with an agreement, and I'd be more versed on giving it all to you and kind of laying out what the numbers might be. If it's something that you would entertain. If not, then I'm going to save the time and not do it.
So in some of your investigating, how much money are you talking about? Just counties like size or other people that you've talked to, you've got to have a little bit of...
Well, O'Fallon, theirs, just for their stranger danger alone, they've pulled just on forfeitures $50 grand, just on that one program, and they've pulled all from forfeitures. I can tell you that we, and what we started thinking the other day, and the problem is that I agreed to release certain things to a particular defendant in exchange for a plea, but I didn't agree to release, what was it, $2,200. So it wasn't a destruction necessarily. We weren't destroying the money. We were going to this $2,200. So I'm saying to him, well, what are we going to do with that? Where does that go? And he's like, well, so I'm like, all these places say we can do this. And so a lot of times, especially in drug deals, you seize cash. And currently, we send that in, it goes and then part of it's supposed to go to the school.
Goes to the school.
But it doesn't really go here.
This is something separate from what's the thing where we sold the piece of property and the sheriff in the city of Troy? What's it called?
That was equitable sharing.
Equitable sharing. Where does that back?
That's seizure type. That was a seizure type.
Through the federal.
That's
federal.
That's strictly a federal thing.
Right.
What was it called?
We sign over a transfer of property agreement to the federal authority, and then they will sell it, and then they will generally part of it goes to the federal agency that does it, DEA or whoever, and then we get a part for the prosecutor's office sometimes. We have in the past. And then the sheriff's department gets a percentage of that as well. I think, surprisingly, it's probably 75% for the feds.
So that's not the same type of
That's
stuff.
different than
This
equitable
is
sharing.
different than.
Yeah.
So this isn't like seizing property, selling it.
Well,
Like if there's a drug bust and there's a car.
right.
Yeah.
You got this car.
Well, sometimes it would be, or guns. We've got a lot of firearms over
We have
there.
an awful lot of old evidence we're trying to go through.
I mean, it's full. I mean, we've got even 2 trailers that are packed, and so it would be really great if we could get through, have an auction and get through some of that. I don't know how to do it all, but like I said, I'd be happy to learn and go about it the way other counties do, because a lot of it, like I say, is cash. We seize cash on almost every drug deal. Sometimes it's only a couple $100, but in this case it was a couple thousand, and every couple thousand sure adds up. So
What do you do with it now?
it goes into
to the school fund.
But it isn't our school.
Right.
It's
General.
like state of Missouri?
Right, and then it goes to whatever schools need the most money.
Right.
So it doesn't stay here locally. If that were the case, it'd be fine and dandy, but it isn't. It just goes to the state, and then the state gives it to those schools that are the most in need. So, if you're...
Yeah, bring me the particulars. We'll take a look at it.
And see kind of what the numbers are.
Sounds reasonable to me.
This doesn't have anything to do with the sheriff's civil fee fund, does it?
No, and that's the same. It goes to the state also and goes to schools that are the most in need. It doesn't come back here to Lincoln County either necessarily.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, the whole civil fee thing. Attorney, I don't know whether you saw the Attorney General's opinion, but I think everybody almost
I saw that you sent it, but I haven't read
has
it.
been putting, the first $50,000 has been going to the sheriff, and whatever is over and above that goes to the county. The Attorney General says, no, that's not right. The first 50 should go to the county, and then the balance goes to the sheriff, right? Now, I don't know.
Of civil fees. There's other fees that is
right.
kind of the
You mean
direct
for
opposite, but
for
civil
process
fees,
service?
yeah. Mhm.
The civil fee fund, which we have been doing it
The other way.
backwards.
Yeah.
So, I guess my question, as soon as we take the Attorney General opinion and say, okay, here's the way, according to the Attorney General, this is the way it's supposed to be, because they just kind of get the feeling that if we say, okay, we're flip-flopping the split on this civil fee fund, we're going to have another lawsuit on our hands.
Well, I don't think, first off, I haven't read it, but second, I'll say that I personally will always defer to the AG's opinion, and if that's what the AG's opinion is, that's what it is. I don't think that you can change midstream what his budget is, but certainly if that's revenues that were anticipated, then that may be I mean, it certainly would be a reason to open it if the revenues anticipated were going to be drastically different. Are you thinking that there won't be $50,000 for the sheriff?
There'll be 50. I think did we do 65 last year? Maybe he got 50, we got 15, something like that. Is what number that sticks in my head.
But there won't be 50 for him.
There won't be 50 for him unless he goes out and has a banner year. But because that's truthfully an unbudgeted fund.
It isn't in revenues or the.
Well, he estimates revenue and his expenses, but if the revenues don't show up, it's just like anything else.
Too bad.
Yeah, he can't.
Too bad for you.
Well, too bad for him.
But he's not spending out of those. He's just saying.
Oh yeah, he is. He spends out his civil fees and the revolving fund quite a bit, doesn't he?
Oh, okay. I mean,
He spends everything we have, pretty much.
but.
I forget which one he's moving that money from to his
Well, at the
budget.
rate he has the federal inmates,
I think it's
he
revolving.
might,
I think that's revolving.
he might come close to what we estimated for him for revenue. At the rate that they're there now, he might make what revenue he needs to make everything flow out the way we said it this year. But the civil fee fund is separate from his other budget.
It's a discretionary fund.
It's a discretionary
It's
fund.
budgeted, but it's a discretionary fund.
It's not
He still
within his
budgets
whole
it.
budget.
No.
No.
It's not in his
It's not part of
long-term
it.
trust. It's not part of the 3.875 or whatever he ended up at. But there's a balance left in there from year to year for the most part. But I'm going to say he was planning on spending $100,000 out of that this year.
So when he won't be able to do that, that's what you're saying.
Well, if we
Change it.
change it midstream, but if the Attorney General says this is the way it's supposed to be,
Yes. We always say his opinion's as good as anybody's, I guess.
Right. I mean, I would tend to always defer to the AG's office, but.
just, I mean, I'm not
I saw it right
I'm
before
not
I
saying
left.
that we need to, slam the gavel down and make the switch, because I'm sure somebody's gonna appeal it. Well, it's not a court decision.
No, it's not binding on anyone.
Right.
It's basically what it says in opinion.
Right. Now, if it was a decision by a court, they could
That'd be
appeal it, but
different.
as it is, it's an opinion, and you can go by it or you can't go by it.
Right.
Why would they put forth the effort to write it that
So-
they weren't real sure that it was the way?
I mean,
Somebody
I questioned that setup earlier this year when I read over the statute myself and went, wait a minute, aren't we doing this wrong? But I checked with other counties, and a lot of the other counties did it the same way, so I was like, well, I must not be interpreting the statute right. Like,
I'm sure
but
someone's
turns
asked
out,
him, that's why they.
Right.
So, just read over that and kind of see what you think, because that could be I know he pays a lot of things out of the civil fee fund.
Okay, that's all I have.
And his income,
Do anything for me?
just that, and this is not a front burner thing, just that Scrivener error thing when we have time to get that sorted out on North Eflin Road.
It's done. I just need to have the secretary read the description back to me to make sure we don't need another Scrivener's error thing
Right.
down the road.
Right.
But she's off today, so.
Yeah.
But it's
so-
completed.
Right, and that's the only thing we have lingering about.
That's one change into section 19 from
Right,
section
from
15.
15 to 19,
Okay.
or 19 to 15, one or
Right.
the other.
Right, okay.
Well, yeah, that was fun.
Okey-doke.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.